quick turnaround for us after a late Sixers game. We're back here for a PHLY Sixers podcast brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Along with Derek, Kyle, I'm Devon. Bree is here as well. She's the president of basketball ops. Good to see you all in the chat. We have a bunch to get to as we come to you live from the Xfinity Lounge, hanging out with you on this Wednesday where the Sixers improved to 7-4 on the season. Good to be back with the guys here in studio as well. So a ton to get to. We start off, of course, with VJ Edgecombe. We'll get into maybe some other slumping players on the roster at the moment and get the guys' thoughts, get Derek's thoughts, since we talked to Kyle a little bit more about it last night with Joel Embiid and Paul George. Get Derek's thoughts on the latest update on Paul George and Joel Embiid. But
Luke already in the chat saying he's hammering leg presses to strengthen his quad and fully participate in today's
Luke, you know
pod.
what? That's right. That's
right.
right.
Someone who's really locked in and paying attention.
Final stage you are in to get
the
ready.
final stage.
The final stage you are in, Luke, to get ready for the show. Well, I mean, we got to talk about the young fella, VJ Edgecombe, off to a fantastic start through the first 5 games. And he was tremendous in those first 5. Sixers with a 4-1 record to start things off. And he was a big, big part of why they were able to get off to the start that they had. But as of late, Derek, not so good, where he has struggled a bit. And one of the things I remember talking to you guys, first started off with Rich on the post game and carried over to the show with you guys. And if you could see the graphic here on the screen, everybody, through the first 5 in October and then this last 6 there in November, you can see the difference in the numbers as it has played out on the floor. Now, when you watch the games, you can see he still has an impact in a lot of different ways. He helps out, whether it's defensively, his passing, while the assist numbers are down, he's still contributing, and that's why Nick Nurse pointed out in the postgame that he still has to keep him on the floor because he does other things. That said, it is clearly evident in watching, and I was saying that before the graphic popped up, that I remember saying to you guys, man, I wish he was a little more, he wasn't aggressive enough for me in that, I don't know, game 6, towards the end of game 6. And we said, you know what, he'll snap out of it, and he will, but he's in his rookie slump maybe a little bit sooner than we expected. How do they try to get him out of this?
Yeah. You know, I think, and you can tell that Devon and I didn't coordinate because I have the stats from his last 4 games, which are even worse. 26.5% from the field, 17.6% from three-point range. He has really hit a struggle. And, you know, it's funny because he's made a couple of catch-and-shoot threes in big spots. And they're like the only catch-and-shoot threes he's made. 3 for 11 on catch-and-shoot threes over that span, but they've all been huge. And I think where I'll start is starting off with what he's still doing well. I actually think over the last 4 games, over the stretch where he's struggling, he's playing the best defense of
100%.
And, you know, that's one thing. It's, you know, I think we're getting into like tired legs and the amount of minutes he's playing. We talked about it the other day. Rookies who started their career playing 38 minutes per game. It hasn't happened in the last 15 years, and it's barely happened in the last 40. So he is in pretty unprecedented territory in terms of minutes played. And the fact that he's playing that many minutes, you know, it's one thing when rookies play heavy minutes, usually they're on junk teams. Like the last one who did that, played that amount of minutes over the first 10 games was John Wall with a completely rebuilding Washington team. This is far from a rebuilding team. It's a team that's 7-4 towards the top of the Eastern Conference. And everyone in the organization, from the GM down to the coach, wants to make the playoffs and wants to make noise. They trust him to play a ton of minutes. It's not even like that's your thin part of your lineup. Like your thin part is your forward depth, especially before Justin had that big game and with Paul out. That's where you're thin. That's where you're sitting there like maybe Jabari Walker's a starter. The backcourt is where you have depth. So if he is playing 38 minutes per night, I think that's dropped a little bit, but if he's playing that heavy of a workload, it means he's doing something right. And I think even when he's going through the biggest slumps of his very brief NBA career, he's still doing enough things right to warrant being on the floor. And I think defense is where I would start from that. But I do think like a lot of the offensive stuff, you know, when we came into the season, we were like, he's going to play well, he's going to defend well, he's going to play hard, he's going to run in transition. Hopefully he will take the open shots, but the rest of the offense is going to be a little bit of work in progress. And I think we've shown, like it's, you know, he came out like gangbusters over the first 6 games, really, really, really playing great ball. 19 over his first 7, And it was amazing how consistent he was going to be. But usually rookies, they give you flashes of what they're capable of, but they're not yet able to do that consistently. And despite VJ's best efforts, and again, his first 7 games were pretty much amazing, it would be unrealistic to expect him to continue this all year. I do think he is, you're starting to see some of those ball handling limitations. I'd love to see him get all the way to the rim a little more often. He's not doing that all that much in the half court right now. His pull-up jumpers right now, he has shot 1 for 10 on pull-up twos over the last 4 games, 1 for 16 overall on pull-up jumpers. You're starting to see the weaknesses of his handle and his pull-up game. That being said, I think part of this is an adjustment. It's an adjustment to the amount of minutes he's playing. And I think he clearly, Kyle, he'll bring it up because Kyle mentioned this before the show, but his back-to-backs, he has struggled with. 3 and 4, he has struggled with. I think the workload, not only the amount of minutes, which is huge, but also the frequency of the games he's learning to adapt to. The pressure that he is facing, being, quite frankly, just a focal point of a scouting report, I think he is adjusting to. I still have a lot of confidence he'll get back to where he was, but I think it's a little bit of cold dose of water of there's an adjustment here. This is not going to be as easy as he showed over the first 7 games.
Yeah. So let me just start with, and this is not to cop a plea for VJ, who has had, as Derek brought up, some mechanical things that he's going to have to get better at as he adjusts to NBA speed. He is very clearly tired. He has played a ton of minutes. This is the most minutes in a confined period of time that he has ever played as a basketball player. It's the highest level of competition on back-to-back scenarios. So 0 days rest. VJ Edgecombe is shooting under 29% from the field. If you just up it to 1 day rest, so more of a normal pattern of NBA games, he's shooting about 42% from the field, 42% from 3, and his numbers normalize a lot. So he probably more than anyone has been impacted by this back-to-back heavy slate that they've had to start the year. They had 3 different sets of back-to-backs in the first, 9, 10 games of the year. That's a lot of games to play as you're adjusting to NBA speed, NBA physicality, the just cadence of games are coming every other day or every couple of days. When you put them next to one another, I think he clearly has been impacted by that. That's something that will normalize over time, but will be something the rest of the year where we will probably say he's not going to be all that good in these games. If you get a good game in the second night of a back-to-back, great. If not, that's something that you hope will improve over time. Outside of that, I think the main thing is that teams early, especially Boston on the first night, said, we're going to dare you to shoot. We're going to give you space on the perimeter, and that's how we choose to try to let you beat us. Well, VJ proved early on, that's not the type of defense you want to play against him. Do you want to give him some pull-up jumpers potentially? Yes, but you can't just sit there and allow VJ to be a dare shooter. I think he's too good of a shooter for that. But once they saw him, he goes 5 for 13 in the opener and then is on a steady diet of 2 for 4, 3 for 6, those type of nights from 3 as a catch and shoot guy. Then they look at him and change the scouting report and say, we got to put pressure on this guy. We got to get into his chest. He's an off the dribble threat as well. So we got to throw doubles, traps, different coverages at him. And that's where you started to see the weaknesses with his handle, the lack of refinement in his pull-up game. I think what you've seen, some of it is a little bit of offensive failure as a team. I think last night against Boston, for example, there were quite a few possessions where they probably wasted the first 12 to 14 seconds of the shot clock with side-to-side stuff. Ball ends up in VJ's hands, and then it's like, okay, 10 seconds on the clock, I got to try to go beat somebody. And he ended up getting stuck in some areas along the baseline near the free throw line where he has a bigger defender on him and he's taking a tough contested mid-range shot. Those are tough shots for anybody, let alone a rookie who's trying to improve at that part of his game. So I think this is a combination of different factors. And also, on top of all this, yeah, he's higher on the scouting report now. I think coming into the year, even though he's a number 3 overall pick, teams look at the Sixers and say, it's Tyrese Maxey, it's Joel Embiid, it's whenever Paul George returns, it's Kelly Oubre. We have some sense of who he is, but we don't know who VJ Edgecombe is. We can't prepare for what this guy is. Now that there's tape out, they react to him, and now the onus is on him. VJ, how do you respond to this? One of the things I would like to see him do is I want to see him try to get deeper on his drives. I want to see him stop settling or pulling up for those mid-range floaters, runners, try to get all the way to the rim. That requires on the perimeter as he's turning the corner on a handoff or out of a pick and roll to take 1 or 2 extra dribbles and then go truly downhill, go a little bit sideways, flash down the lane. There are little refinements to make. I'm not even a little bit worried, but this is what being a rookie is about, right? Whether your best stretch was first 5 games, 10 games in December, whenever it was, once you start putting good games on tape, that's going to circulate around the league and they're going to force you to respond to what the adjustment is. So it's good for him. It's healthy for him to go through this. And as you said, Devon, Nick Nurse is still out there saying, I want this guy. I need this guy on the floor because of the other things he does and because these reps are so important to him as he grows as a player.
So right now, through the 11 games, he has played in 412 minutes total. Through the first 11 games, he's averaging, as the guys have talked about, overall, just the amount of minutes that he's playing in general. It's just amazing that he is able to do so. Now, look, it's a 3rd overall pick, and as Derek pointed out, the John Wall numbers early on of what a top pick does on a bad team at that point, playing that. So I just looked at his numbers through the college to get to 412 quickly, and he got there, started the season November 4th for Baylor. He didn't get into 410 minutes until January 11th.
Crazy.
And that was game number 15 on the season. So, yes, there are 3 days between games, 4 games, some 2, just because of schedules, or they playing in some special tournament at the beginning of the season. He had a few of those, but that's a big gap, Kyle, that you have 412 through 11 and then 410, where that doesn't even start until the calendar year turns. And the season started for the Sixers in October, where in this case, that's almost 2-3 weeks later for the Baylor team, where he got out there and he's playing all these minutes. So
no, how condensed that is definitely, I think, a factor in that.
Yes.
Like you're talking about 2 months of basketball instead of 3 weeks. Yeah,
exactly. 3 weeks today. So he did that all in that stretch of 2 months, as you pointed out. So the things that I've seen, that I thought I've seen when it comes to VJ Edgecombe in this case, is that you can clearly see where the things where he was popping off the screen in the first game for sure against Boston. He's just popping off the screen. He still has it against Charlotte in game number 2 when they have their home opener. And it's still there around game 4 where you still see that he's making these big plays. He's just jumping off the screen. You guys in the arena, you can see it right up close and personal. And then right around 5 and 6, because of all the minutes and the early back-to-back that they had, that you can see that it started affecting his legs. And when you take that away from an athlete too, part of his jump shooting that we've talked about is improvement. When he's adjusted the form already and the tweaks that they've already had for his jump shot, when now you're fatigued and you're tired, the shot, sometimes the mental hurdle is, I'm going to go back to some of the old things that I did that we have corrected to compensate to get back to, this is how I know how to make shots. So there'll be little small things like that can get in the way. A lot of his shots are front rim right now. He's had a few where he's hit back rim. That's just the nature of, I know what the last shot looked like. That was short. I need to put a little bit more, and that one maybe is going to be a little bit longer now after I take this shot. So you can see it there. The defense is there. Even when we talk about Jared McCain, and maybe we can get to him a little bit later, when we discuss how he was digging in defensively in that, not last night, the game on Sunday, it was because you're giving that effort on defense because, again, you're not thinking as much with some of the ailments that you may have that is preventing you from doing things. But in the offensive end, that's where you start to think a little bit more. And right now, VJ Edgecombe is thinking a lot of how to try to fight through all of this stuff at the moment, which is the fatigue. You don't have an answer for fatigue except for, I have to learn how to pace myself in a 38-minute outing
which
that I'm
is
going to
very
have
difficult
for a 20-year-old player that has never been here to do so. And the beauty of it is that, yes, he has a lot of teammates that are out there with him that can take a lot of those minutes. Part of the problem, though, is they're tired too. We've talked about the Tyrese Maxey part where we look at Quentin Grimes is out there on the floor and we're saying, calm down, man. You don't have to go so fast and you don't have to over dribble. Well, he sees a moment, I think, that he's tired. He can't get it going. Guess what? I'm fresh. I am going to dribble and I'm going to take my shots. And that's how it goes when you have a lot of players. And we ran through the numbers. I think after the first 5 games, even though they were 4-1, Maxey was averaging 40, VJ Edgecombe 38.5, Kelly Oubre averaging 37 minutes at that point, and Quentin Grimes somewhere around that 34, 35-minute mark. So there's a lot of fatigue. And the one thing with Edgecombe that I do give him credit for is he's not forcing things all that much, trying to force himself into the game and get himself going. On the other hand, I would like it a little bit because get to the basket and finish, and maybe that'll give you a little bit more confidence. Get to the free throw line. See if you go through the basket, and maybe that'll help you out as well. So there's a mental battle that he has going on right now. I love that Andre Drummond told him to go home, sleep till 6. He slept till, noon? He said, stayed in bed till about 1. He needs more rest, and hopefully these 2 days off, even though they have a practice on Thursday and a flight tomorrow as well, will give him a little bit of a break because it's not going to get any easier with 4 games that they have next week.
And I will say, when Andre Drummond, a teammate, I said this on the postgame show last night, but when a teammate looks at you and is saying, brother, I need you to stay in bed, that's the message from the veteran. They know, right? They're out there on the floor with him. They see him in practice settings every day. They can read. If we're sitting here reading body language and trying to interpret things, they know up close and personal more than we can. Hey, this guy's tired versus this guy's just having a bad game or whatever it is. I thought that spoke volumes that Andre had the presence of mind as a vet to go to their rookie and say, hey, buddy, I just need you to take it easy, right? Like, we heard stories about Tyrese Maxey during his first year, second year, third year in the league where Doc Rivers was having to ban him from the practice facility. We've obviously heard a lot about VJ's work ethic, all the extra time he's putting in, the work he put in the summer, not just at the Sixers facility with trainers. So if these people who have seen the motor, the engine that this kid has are now saying, buddy needs to scale back a little bit, I take them at their word for that. And so I think that's a contributor to what's happening. It's not all of what's happening, but it's certainly something that he's going to have to navigate and learn from early in the year. Hopefully, this stretch right here, where it's 1 game in 5 days, that helps to reset his legs and reset his, I guess, gas tank a little bit. And then he can build on that and get back to the VJ we saw earlier in the year.
And even with that, as we get ready to head to break on Friday when they take on the Pistons, this is now game 2 against the Pistons, where, Kyle, you mentioned it with the early second game against Boston. They saw him already. So now there's going to be that other piece of a challenge where he has to fight through. We'll talk about a little bit more on what are some other things that he could potentially do. How did the Sixers themselves help him get back on track? We're talking VJ Edgecombe. The slump has started. The wall has been hit. Now, how do you bust it down and break through to get back on track with the 7-4 team that, again, you're still right there in the mix with a lot of basketball to be played? We'll get to it all when we get back. It's the PHLY Sixers podcast, a rare 3 p.m. show today and tomorrow right here. Hang out with us. All right, Bet365, got to tell you all about it. A little Bet365 action. You can get into some NBA action tonight, whatever the moment's never ordinary at Bet365. Some NHL with the Flyers in action tonight as well. Go ahead and dive in. As one of the 90 million users worldwide, they've pioneered live in-game betting as well. They offer the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting across 78 sports. And last night, I apologize, I had an off night last night. Well, Trendon Watford had an off night last night, so therefore, I had an off night. And with that, I let you down. I'll bounce back on Friday when it comes to the games. But if you want to get prepared and you want to maybe jump in for the Thursday night game tomorrow in the NFL and then gear up for your basketball team on Friday, if you're a new customer, you got to jump in now because they have a great deal. New customers now get $300 in bonus bets when you bet $5. That's win or lose. Sign up, use the code PHLY365, deposit $10. Place a bet for $5 and you get $300 in bonus bets, and those bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever you want, it's right there for you at Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And guys, let me tell you something about our colleague Rich Hoffman. His setup,
Get him, Derek.
complete disaster.
Oh,
Tried to watch a
man.
game, it was lagging, it was buffering, I couldn't see anything. I have no idea how
Not
that
Rich.
guy follows sports. Because if you call yourself a sports fan, you have to have Xfinity. It's the ultimate sports destination. I can find the best games and my favorite teams all in one place. The way that I watch is next level. Got all the action right in your living room, plus Xfinity's best picture and sound with enhanced 4K. It's so clear that it feels like you're in the arena. On top of that, you get real-time notifications and live stats right on your TV. It's the best seat in the house every time. Next game day, make sure that big fan isn't a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity 4K capable TV box. Be better than Rich.
Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers podcast here on a Wednesday, where Rich has come at both Derek and Kyle for their bad service. And so
Every time I listen,
Infight.
I have
it.
Xfinity service, so I don't know what he's talking about. Rich got to do his own research and do better research, I guess.
let's talk about right now the big deal presented by Cherry Hill. Cherry Hill, listen, I know people buy Jeeps elsewhere, but I just don't know why, Kyle.
Me either,
I
Devon.
have no idea. So make sure you visit the great people at Cherry Hill, Jeep. So, all right, let's continue with the big deal, which is VJ Edgecombe, Kyle, and just overall, some of the things that is a big deal is fighting through it all and making sure you're still being able to be effective in other ways. And being around him as you have since the summer, leading all the way up to this time, and the character that he has, that yes, he is still having these issues, but the big deal, like the block against Jaylen Brown late in the game, the pass then after that to Justin Edwards, recognizing the hot hand on that particular play and his three-point shot as well. So even with all of that, the big deal, as Derek pointed out in his first open in the block, he still finds ways to have a handprint on the game that results in a win. Even when they have lost, he has hit big shots late. They may lose it by 1 or 2 down the stretch, but he is still finding those ways to contribute.
Yeah, and I think when I've talked to him, whether it was out at Summer League, during the preseason, if he comes off a good game, he comes off a bad game, I don't think he carries himself any differently. And I think that's why you're able to see so apparently that he doesn't care if he's at the end of a poor shooting night when there's 3 to 5 minutes left in the game. It's a 5-point game. Could go either way. They've been in all these clutch games already this year, right? I think 9 out of their 11 games have been clutch situations. They've gone 6-3 in those games. Part of the reason they've been able to win is because he has not allowed any kind of shooting slumps, ineffectiveness early in games to impact him on offense, where he's stepped into threes confidently and has hit some big shots, but also is staying engaged on the other end. And frankly, that's one of the hardest things for rookies and young players to do. A lot of times, these guys who come in as top picks, top players, even guys who are taken later in the draft, they're coming from a high school and college career where wherever they were, you're the man, you're scoring 20, 25, 30 points a game, relatively easy in a lot of circumstances. You get the ball all the time. You get to play yourself into a rhythm because you're by far the best player on whatever team that you ever played on. And so you're not used to having to look around and say, all right, I'm only going to get 9, 10 shots tonight, and I'm not going to be able to feed off of whatever momentum I can build on offense to take that to the defensive end. So when they go cold on offense, defensively, they check out a little bit. They're not as engaged off the ball. And you don't see that with VJ. VJ continues to play hard, continues to play connected to his teammates. Is he making rookie mistakes at times on defense? Yes, but I think, as Derek pointed out during the first segment, he has been better and better and better with each passing game, I think. I think you see him making the athletic plays, obviously, but even just the little, just sliding around screens, getting in a rear view contest when you're playing drop coverage and you have to chase from behind as Andre Drummond is sinking toward the rim. Little details like that. He's getting better. He's figuring out the timing. He's figuring out how to not foul as he's playing physical defense. All those things are very encouraging. And so it gives him a path on any given night that, hey, maybe you are 1 for 4 from 3. Maybe you are 2 for 12 from the floor, but you're still able to be an impactful enough player to remain on the floor. And that gives you chances at the end of the game to make a play. That gives you chances to show off your basketball IQ where you're saying, hey, I made that play on defense against Jaylen Brown. Let me find Justin Edwards, who was cooking the night, who was our leading scorer off the bench. He's got it going. Let's make sure that he helps us get to the finish line here. So I think the presence of mind that he has continued to show deep in these games is part of why we said he's a winning player who will figure things out, even if right away he doesn't have everything in the bag yet.
Just because we've got a bunch of people in chat talking about it. That Jaylen Brown block was,
It was
God,
unbelievable.
insane.
I didn't even think he was in the play.
When it happened live, because when Brown came down, he then moved the net. I thought he got the dunk. It didn't cross my mind that he could possibly block that shot. Then have the presence of mind to push it and get it to Justin.
To be able to pick the basketball up immediately, and he was in bounds still to be able to pick that up was amazing. And his body control as he came over from the weak side to block it and stay away from Jaylen Brown's body and not to commit a foul on his arm or anything. It was just a great, great play.
Guards do not make that play. It was absolutely, people are talking about it in the chat. I think Melo 3-point. That's where he does look like Wade a little bit. Like shot blocking wise, that is just not a play you are used to seeing somebody of his size and position make. And it really is like his lock-in defensively. I think Kyle hit the nail on the head.
Look at that.
It's just like for you to go through slumps, and we can go through all the numbers, and he's clearly slumping on offense. For you to go through slumps and still not have that impact your effort, your focus, your attention to detail, really is unique. And he is a player who, he's got some stuff to work on offensively. I think the base of being a really good offensive player and a really valuable offensive player is there. He's just got to get his legs under him, get that catch and shoot shot back, and he will have closeouts to attack. But he's got some work to reach his peak form offensively. But defensively, he is a special, special prospect.
No, he really is, man. And that's one thing that you really do. That's the other thing you like about him, that he's able to just still give the effort there. And again, it's easier on the defensive end, especially in the guts of the game where look, not a lot of people protecting the basket, but that athletic guy can still get up. Even with the tired legs, he can still muster up enough to get up there, get the pass from Oubre. Yes, Gene, that pass came from Oubre off of that block, but he stayed in bounds is what I mean, that he didn't even go out of bounds. He was still in the play. Oubre just collected it and got him right back to it. So that is our Jeep, our Cherry Hill, Jeep of Cherry Hill, our big deal. So make sure that you all go check out Jeep, cherryhilljeep.com. I know people buy Jeeps and Ram trucks elsewhere. I just don't know why, Kyle. Have no idea.
Either. Can't figure it out. I thought a lot about it, and I said,
still don't
it's
know.
A mystery.
Yeah, still don't know. Drive home in your new Jeep or Ram truck today. Just minutes from all bridges or available online 24/7 at cherryhilljeep.com. The one, though, that was like, oh, man, slow. Remember the sequence last night where they missed about 4 layups in a row in the fourth quarter? Mm-hmm. And he was coming towards you guys in the second half, and he was going really fast. And I thought he slowed down enough where he was going to get the right touch off the glass, and boom, it just bounced as a rebound going the other way. But that is also just, hey, I mean, sometimes those bad things, he thinks he made a great play, got out in transition, he pushed the pace, he was catching them off guard, and unfortunately he couldn't finish. But you just see so many different flashes from him through 11 games that gives you a lot to be excited about. And as you guys have already mentioned, he's in this slump, but most people figure it out, and he seems like a kid that's going to figure it out of how to break through it. And
when he was at Baylor, he was in a pretty extended slump to open the year, and keeps plugging away. Frankly, he's talked about it. Many people have talked about it. Was not the ideal environment for him there in terms of the offensive structure and who he's playing alongside. And then late December, early January, he starts just shooting the cover off the ball. You're seeing all the things that made him a top recruit in high school. So look, this happens. It's a young player thing. It's especially a player of his kind of ilk, right? A hyper athlete who does have the other skills to his game, but is trying to refine those, trying to become. We tried to make draft comps, and all of them just felt a little bit lacking. Like people are like, well, he's Dwayne Wade, or he's Victor Oladipo, or he's Anthony Edwards, or he's Donovan Mitchell, and it's I don't know that he's any of these guys. He's got pieces of all these different players' games.
Who was the other one?
Let him.
Russell Westbrook, young Westbrook,
and JB Bickerstaff recently. What was that? Sunday
Detroit.
evening. Compared him to young Derrick Rose, at least young Derrick Rose's athleticism. Yeah, I mean, I don't think the game is all that similar, but the explosiveness, the power that he can play with at times, I guess you could. Everyone's just looking at, here's an athletic guard. Yeah. That's VJ Edgecombe. VJ Edgecombe's going to become his own player, and I'm very excited for that because I think you see bits and pieces of all these guys. And with the trainers that he's working with, who worked with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I think this kid could add a lot to his game in the next 2, 3, 4, or 5 years. And he does already have this solid base that we're seeing every night.
All right, next break, everybody. We come back. Can we talk about another slump? It's a team-wide slump coming out of the locker room. Why does it keep happening? That's a big-time slump. I guess VJ is part of it, but we have to talk about it. We're not in the slump here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. We keep going. We don't get tired. That was a quick turnaround last night.
That's not true at all. I feel like BG on here.
When we come back, we'll get into the third quarter. We're going into our third quarter right here on the PHLY
I'm in overtime today,
Sixers podcast. And we've talked about the big deal being the Cherry Hill Jeep, of how VJ Edgecombe continues to fight through. Well, you know what? You got to fight through and say, we got to go sit in this traffic sometimes. Let's do so in style. Let's look pretty cool. Well, if you're looking for a Jeep or a Ram truck, there's the one and only dealership in South Jersey who has the market leader since 1967, and that's our friends at CherryHillJeep.com. They have you covered on the best selection, but more importantly, the best prices. Slide into the 2025 Jeep Wrangler, if you will, this month for $289 a month. Every Wrangler delivers strong drivetrains, innovative engineering, and quality components that underpin this icon's legendary heritage. Or pull away in the most luxurious and functional SUV, the 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo, also included in the True Zero offer. And if you stop in today, everybody, tell them PHLY sent you, and you receive $1,000 off of any new car and care, and additional $2,000 for your trade-in as well. I know people buy Jeeps, Kyle, and Ram trucks elsewhere.
I just don't know why.
Drive home in your new Jeep or Ram truck today, just minutes from all bridges, or available 24/7 at CherryHillJeep.com.
And guys, we love to talk about our friends at Shady Rays around here, right? You know the moment.
Yes.
The one where you realize you left your favorite sunglasses at the beach, the roof of your car. Maybe you're a traveler like I am. You're in parts unknown. You're trying to keep track of everything, and the sunglasses just end up, somewhere else. I've been there. You've been there. But then I found Shady Rays, and they changed the game, because those sunglasses are made for real life. They're good looking, polarized, durable, and they're not stupidly expensive. And here's the wild part. If you lose them or break them, even if it's on the first day you get them, Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair. They don't guilt trip you. They just send you replacements. So now when I wear my sunglasses, I don't have any fear on hikes, at concerts, on the boat, wherever. Shady Rays is eyewear that has your back. We've teamed up with Shady Rays to bring you an exclusive offer. Head to ShadyRays.com. Use code PHLY for 35% off of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers podcast. Make sure you hit that like button, everybody. I guess I was a little tired. I forgot to do this at the top of the show. Hit the like button, everybody.
Hit
we really
the damn like
appreciate
button.
it. We really, really appreciate it. Bree appreciates it. Please, everybody, hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe as well. Let us know how we're doing here on the show. And we are presented by Bet365. Don't forget, Flyers tonight. They take on the Oilers at home. And when the Oilers come in town, that means one thing, Connor McDavid. So make sure you go ahead, Bet365, make your picks there. And maybe that's for Flyers when they're 8-5-2, 6-3-1 at home. So not bad.
Well,
Not bad.
I keep saying it. The winter team's cooking a little bit to start the year. It's nice because
Yes, indeed.
last year they were cooking something and it didn't smell too good.
No, it did not. No, it did not. Well, whatever's cooking or brewing at halftime, it's not working for the Sixers coming out of the locker room.
I was about to use a word we can't use on
Overtime?
Fast Channel.
All right, there you go. Overtime. Well, we'll get to that maybe a little bit later. Save that one. That said, man, it's been tough. After last night's 36-20 third quarter in favor of Boston, Sixers are minus 16. They're now outscored by 100 and what did I say? 88 before. So 104 points now. They are outscored in third quarters through 11 games.
It's bad.
Something's got to give, man.
So they've been outscored in 10 of 11 games. Only once all year have they actually outscored somebody in the third quarter. And in 6 of those 10 games, they were outscored by double digits. And what's really wild, on a per possession basis, they're the best team in the league in the second quarter and the best team in the league in the fourth quarter.
Why you think
and
they're the best in the fourth
worst
quarter?
team in the league in the third quarter. And it just doesn't make any gosh darn sense.
They're the best in the league in the fourth quarter because they dig that hole.
Yeah, well, but I mean, look, most teams would roll over if that happened.
Very true.
So my general belief is that most of the time we focus on third quarters too much. Like I think I've said this the other day. If a team is the worst in the league in the second quarter, nobody cares. But in the third quarter, our minds easily tie it to like, well, one coach made adjustments, we didn't. And really, the like randomness impacts both quarters the same. So if you can be randomly stinky in the second quarter, you can also be randomly stinky in the third quarter. It doesn't guarantee that there are adjustments that you are not reacting to. That's my general assumption. But boy, are they testing that theory. Because this is just, it's like 10 out of 11 games should not happen. And I started digging in this a little bit this morning. I'm probably going to do a little bit more. I'm trying to figure out, because the other quarter they get outscored in is the first quarter. So you go, all right, maybe there's something rotationally that's just not there. And what's weird is in the first, so I started looking at the starters, starting group working.
Yeah.
And the Maxey, VJ, Kelly started every game. They're like, I think they've outscored teams by a total of 14 points in the first quarter, and they've been outscored by like 45 in the third quarter. So the same lineup that's working in the first quarter is not working at all in the third quarter. And it really is just, I don't necessarily think it's effort. I do think the offense tends to get a little bit stale, but I'm sure Nick's not like, hey guys, don't pass the ball at halftime. Like he's clearly not doing that. And I don't really even think that other teams are getting into them defensively at a higher degree. I don't have a good explanation. I really don't yet.
So Kyle came on last night after Rich and I were talking about this, and Bree as well. And we were going back and forth with a lot of people in the chat because I didn't take Nick Nurse off the hook. It was just more of his message in the locker room is not don't go out there and score baskets in the third quarter. He's giving some message. And maybe it's not reaching him or whatever. I don't think it's not reaching him, but something's off. It has been in the chat last night. There were a lot of Nick Nurse doesn't know what he's doing coming out of the locker room. This is him. They don't have a point guard in the third quarter. Tyrese Maxey is more of a combo guy.
But if that's true, then that shouldn't work in the fourth quarter either.
Just telling you what they say. That a lot of it is Nurse and the substitutions. Should Maxey come out sooner? Or when he does come out, that's when things falls off the cliff for the Sixers. So there are a lot of theories.
Well, I checked that too. Like they're plus minus when Maxey's on the court in the third quarter stinks. It stinks.
And there are a ton of theories. And that's why this has been puzzling, Kyle, because there are a number of different things. And for the people who didn't hear you last night, you can tell them what you thought. But there are a lot of different ways as to why this continues to happen. And as you said, they're testing your theory, though, Derek. 1, 2, 3, 4 games, that's the test of a theory. This is now 11 games where they've won one third quarter, right? Wasn't it Boston, 25-20?
I think, yeah, they won by like
game
a
two.
couple of points.
Yeah, 25-20, game 2 against Boston. They won that quarter. Other than that, they have not.
Okay, so let me throw a few things at everyone. They have the worst third quarter offense in the league by 6 points per 100 possessions. They have the worst third quarter defense in the league by about 3 points per 100 possessions. The thing that is most confusing to me, or maybe most distressing to me, this isn't even hey, the other teams are just making a lot of threes in third quarters, where that would be like, yeah, that'll normalize eventually. They're kind of mid-pack for opponent three-point percentage in third quarters. If you drill down on it, the big thing seems to be they don't take care of the ball, so other teams are getting more possessions every single third quarter. They are giving up the second most shot attempts in the league in third quarters behind only the Washington Wizards, who stink. And the Wizards are much better at defending those attempts in those third quarters. Teams are shooting close to 52% from the field against the Sixers, and that is without good three-point shooting. So what that says to me, and I would have to dig deeper into the numbers to see if this tracks with what a couple of the related stats say, their transition defense must be miserable because they're also turning the ball over at a much higher rate than most teams in the league. They're turning the ball over on almost 19% of their possessions in third quarters. So when you add all those things up, they turn the ball over a lot. The opponent is getting a lot of shots. Their opponent is shooting a high percentage on those shots. What I ultimately conclude is you're probably not getting back very often, and teams are getting to the rim and scoring before you get set. And that is, so these leads are dwindling quickly, and you're being beat up on in that way. That would be my theory. I can't substantiate that quite yet, but I think that would be a main thing.
Fast break points given up in the third quarter. The Sixers give up 7.4 per game in the third quarter. That is the worst in the league if you're running.
There you go.
League average is about less than half that at 3.3.
Oof, yeah. So I think that is a big part of it. The transition defense has been bad. It's especially bad in third quarters. I think a lot of that, or at least some of that, could be attributed to offensive process for whatever reason. And this is something that we'd have to dive into the tape a little bit more. I would think if you're turning the ball over more, you're not playing as cohesively as you are early in the game. Maybe there's a little too much ISO ball, but the problem there is most of the time you play ISO ball because you don't turn the ball over with ISO ball. Yeah. So that I have to unpack a little bit. I said to Devon and Rich though last night, I think part of this is just they're a good team. They're not a great team. And good teams, especially good young teams, are not going to play 4 straight quarters of just, we're going to beat the brakes off of you, right? There will be a natural lull throughout the game. And with the way the game is now, where there's lots of threes that go up, it's pace, it's space, big leads ultimately do not matter as much as they used to. Teams come back from 15, 20 points down with regularity in today's league.
There are always runs in basketball.
It's always been a game of runs, but it used to be because teams didn't shoot as much threes. It was more a 10-point comeback rather than an 18-point comeback.
Can we just die in the second quarter once? Can you try that out? Just give me a different quarter to die in. That's all I'm asking.
So I get it. It's a really frustrating thing to watch, it makes you feel as if it's some kind of big tactical thing or, boy, they got figured out. But if that was the case, they wouldn't also be able to have the best fourth quarter offense and best fourth quarter team in the league. I don't know if it's just that you need to drill the message in harder at halftime. Quentin suggested after the game last night that maybe they just need to be a little play with some more energy to open quarters. I don't know that it's been an energy thing. Is it a mental focus? It's hard to say, but take care of the basketball. I think that will be a big part of it. And I think the shifting lineups, Joel in and out, Drummond and Bona going back and forth, maybe that's a part of it as well.
Well, whatever it is, it's a trend now, and they need to figure it out. That said, they're 7-4 through 11. Maybe they could be a little bit better if they can figure these.
They can't get worse in the third
quarter.
They
can't.
Almost by definition.
Though I said that because they were at negative 36.3 net rating entering last night. They're worse. Negative 38 now.
Final break. When we come back, we'll get Derek's thoughts on Embiid and Paul George with the updates from last night. And we got some news and notes for the guys as well. Final break right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast.
Guys, if you have been watching the Sixers in the third quarter recently, there have been a few where you had to head to the fridge and say,
I'm pretty sure I popped one in one of our
I need
post-game
something
shows.
refreshing to get me through this nonsense.
Even I've had the
But
crooked
here's
tea
the thing.
in the third quarter.
Everyone's got their favorite hard tea. You probably haven't looked to see what's in it by looking at the can because most of them don't want you to know. They hide what's inside. The good thing about Crooked Tea, they brag about what's in there. Crooked Tea brews real USDA organic tea for real flavor with zero sugar, no fake junk hiding behind the label. What you see is what you drink. When you're at the store looking for your hard tea of choice, I want you to turn those cans around. If you can't find the ingredients, don't buy that. Then go grab a Crooked Tea with zero sugar, real tea, and they're fully transparent. Real recognizes real. Don't drink the fake stuff. Crooked Tea. The only thing better is a strip sack in the Super Bowl. Visit crookedtea.com to find a store near you.
Guys, we want to thank you for being part of the PHLY community. You really do make what we do meaningful. We're always looking for ways to improve our show and better understand how you listen and what you value most. That's why we've launched a quick survey. Your feedback helps shape the content you love and make it even better. It only takes a few minutes, but it makes a big impact. Take a moment, head to allphly.com/survey and let your voice be heard. Respondents have a chance to win a $100 Amazon gift card. Thank you.
All right, we're back. PHLY Sixers podcast here. Derek, Kyle, Devon, Bree, all of you, thank you. We really appreciate it. Derek, last night Shams gave the update. The final stage of the debut process.
No. We are not doing Shams gave the update. Shams got the text from PR and pretended like he broke the news. That's what happened.
Yes.
I just want to make that clear.
Yes.
I'm not riding on that. He gets away with it enough. We're not doing that today.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
We're not
the
doing
Embiid
that
one was
today.
even more egregious.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because it was after we had already reported it. But anyway.
Yes.
So I guess we'll start off with the Paul George one, right? Because that one came out
Yeah,
first.
go ahead with that one first.
The final part of this, how do you phrase it? Of the return to, it doesn't matter. The final stage. We've been at the final stage for the sixth different time. Yes.
Countdown.
Yes. And look, I get that they want to, strengthen the knee a little bit. See
quadriceps.
But he's been playing basketball for like 6 weeks now. So like, what's another couple of days of weight conditioning going to do? I don't know, man. It's very, very frustrating. I will say, I think the Embiid update is a meaningful one.
Yes.
Like he hasn't experienced any swelling. There's a little bit of soreness. They got it looked at, found no structural damage. It sounds like they were just being, very, very cautious. Like the first time he went like, something doesn't really feel right. They just backed off and took it really cautiously. I appreciate that. I think it caused everyone to panic briefly there, but that seems like good news. Paul George update is just I'll let Kyle take the floor because I know he's got strong opinions on this.
Well,
it's just getting frustrating at this point.
I talked about it last night.
That's why I
don't
came
need
to you.
I think it's just one of those where when you say, hey, this is the final step, and then there's another final step.
It better be the final.
But
You
it
either have
better
a
be the
setback
final.
or a new. You can't have a new final step.
You can't have a third final
Right.
step. You can't have a second final step. Final has meaning. That there's a definition of the word final that apparently has gone missing here. So my hope is that by next Monday's game, we see Paul George on the floor because they will have at least 2 practices to get him out there, and that will eliminate any excuses. I think the Joel thing, as Derek said, I think that was really encouraging that it was just no structural damage. They were cautious with soreness. They didn't, because the problem has been in recent years. Joel has said this himself. He feels like he hasn't been listened to, that he's had issues, and they're like, whoever it is, I can't point a finger to it, but he has not always felt like he was in a cohesive relationship with the team on the injury front. So they get it checked out. Everything looks good. They didn't rule him out for Friday against Detroit. So it's possible that Joel only misses this one game, is right back in a rhythm. And as I told Devon and Rich on the postgame show last night, Nick Nurse said during the press conference, hey, look, he's in good shape right now. His conditioning has improved. His rhythm has improved. So my hope would be he misses as little time as possible because they want to keep building off of what we saw in that Toronto game where he scores a pretty effortless 29 and it's not taking points off the table for Maxey or VJ or Grimes or anybody else. They had 6 double-figure scorers. Offense is flowing. They all play really well together. You don't want to lose that because he's got to miss a chunk of time. And then you're working back on the minutes restriction and everything else. So hopefully smooth sailing from here.
Please announce I'm in the final stages of getting into career best fitness. I've been in those final stages for a year and a half, but I am in the final stages.
Final stages.
Very happy about myself.
Final stages. All right. That's the update.
We're in the final stages of this podcast.
So let's get to the news and notes then, shall we?
There was one right in the middle of the show. I don't know if you saw
That's what we're starting with.
All right.
With the first one, basketball, today's Bree with Bradley Beal. Los Angeles Clippers guard Bradley Beal fracture in his hip and will undergo season-ending surgery. And with that, it just makes me immediately go to the Norm Powell, who's cooking again right now for the Miami Heat. They move on from Norm Powell. They bring in Bradley Beal. Not a good trade-off there.
So the question is,
and Kawhi is out
whose
again.
preseason prediction dies first? My sleeper team Clippers or Derek's Jamal Mosley Coach of the Year bet?
Good. But if anybody ends up on our Coach of the Year predictions, you should just hand in your resignation now.
So the Clippers generally, I think what they have shown early in the year, in contrast to some of the teams who have really thrust into the spotlight, is that depth is good. You need young depth with the way the league is going right now. I think some of the teams that have surprised, including the Sixers, but also even Phoenix, right? Phoenix made a deliberate attempt to get younger. And while they sputtered out of the gate, they have normalized and now look like at least a competent team around Devin Booker. They're giving teams problems, including the Los Angeles Clippers, who they played, I think, already 3 times early in the season.
Mm-hmm.
So Beal was a big bet by the Clippers. Now, their bet was we're going to trade Norm Powell, and that will allow us to get John Collins and then sign Bradley Beal. The calculus was we can either use Norm Powell's money on Norm Powell, and he was great last year, threatened for an all-star spot, had a great year playing next to James Harden, or we can get Bradley Beal, who we think will have a resurgent year alongside Harden, alongside these other guys, and we add John Collins, who, by the way, has looked pretty good in his role this year. I think he was added to the starting lineup the other night, and I think that might be sort of how they work moving forward. But that looks like a bad bet because Norm Powell has continued to play really well for Miami. Miami looks good early in the year, even with Tyler Hero out of the lineup. So bad bet on Beal. He has not looked good on a consistent basis in years.
Yeah.
Last 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Because even at the end of Washington, when he had that stretch where he was battling Embiid for scoring titles with the 33, 35 a night, and once he got to Phoenix, that was pretty much it for him. What do you think, Bradley Beal?
I mean, look, it's bad news on the injury front. You never want to see it, but he was not playing meaningful basketball before then. And at this point, you shouldn't have been betting on 33-year-old Brad Beal, 32, 33, something like that.
He just fell off a cliff, though.
Yeah. No, and like I was never a huge Brad Beal fan. I thought he was overrated, but he has fallen off of a cliff big time. And like with that contract and the no trade that was associated with it, just one of the worst contracts in recent memory. And I say that full knowing well that injuries take their toll on even the best of us.
All right, one more basketball-related one. This was from yesterday, though. And it's pretty big news. The Dallas Mavericks.
Oh, boy.
And the owner, Patrick Dumont. They fired general manager Nico Harrison. And the fan the night before was sitting with Patrick Dumont with a Luka Lakers jersey on, courtside. And they finally let it go. And Derek, all of us said it at the
Statue
time.
for that fan, by the way.
Yeah.
The Dallas Mavericks fans need to find that kid or that guy.
And not like an AI-sized statue. We mean a real
We need like
statue.
a 10-footer of that guy in the Luka jersey alongside Luka.
It's been a nightmare since this happened last February.
It was a nightmare the moment it was proposed to ownership. It was never. Usually ownership should not be taking an active role, Like hire someone you trust, empower them, go from there. The moment that trade was brought to ownership, he should have been fired on the spot. You do not make a case for that. It was bad from the jump. And I know there's a lot of people that are like, well, you should have gotten a chance to see it out. If you're going to greenlight it, then you should have done this. No. Just because you greenlit one mistake doesn't mean you should let this guy run your organization and try to fix it. Like, this is a career-defining move. It is a disqualification move. Like, you should be disqualified right from the moment you suggest it. And I do think it was getting to be a distraction. I quite frankly think he should have been fired even if it wasn't a distraction. But it was a huge distraction. And quite frankly, good on Dallas fans for making it one. They should have been vocal every day until something was changed. Luka is averaging what, like 37, 9 and 9, and your team's 4 and 7 or whatever.
He's on a revenge tour. He came
He's
out and
25.
said,
I still, to this day, I will never be able to put any kind of logic on that trade. I will never be able to forget where I was when I saw it, how much disbelief I had, how much I thought Shams was hacked, how many times I had to check to make sure that was a real darn notification. I had to check the time. It's just, it's. Did you see from our buddy Tim Cato had in his article where he had Drew Holiday in the same tier as Jokic? What? There is not
Tim Cato, Nico Harrison.
Oh, yeah. Nico Harrison. Yeah. No. Tim's great. Tim reported this. There is legitimately nobody else on this planet who has Drew Holiday on the same tier as Jokic. Like, this guy must have just the biggest fetish of defensive-oriented players and just hate, like, transcendent, like, era-defining focal points. It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling.
I would just say this. There's never a chance in a million years I would trade Luka if I had Luka on my team. I'm riding with Luka till the wheels fall off. If you are someone who is inclined to trade Luka Doncic, because look, one of the big things this year is that he got in really good shape. And part of that, I think, is the motivation he felt by being traded, all the talk about his conditioning, yada, yada, yada. Like, hey, I'm going to go prove it. And if you thought he never was going to do that, it was going to be constantly like, oh, is this guy in shape? Is he not? I could at least see a world where, like, I don't know that I want to bet the next decade on him. Trade him for a young guy. Trade him for, like, an ascending player. Trade him for an ascending player and $1 billion first-round picks. Trading him for Anthony Davis and Max Christie. And I like Max Christie, right? I think he's a good ascending role player. Trading him for 31-year-old Anthony Davis, who, by the way, the irony of all ironies, there's pictures of him at practice, and now he looks like he's
put on
out of shape and is not in his best condition self after all this. It's like
perfect, man. It's just perfect.
There's no logic behind doing that. I can at least get to a point where I'm like, all right, if you just think this guy likes to drink beer and eat Texas barbecue and he's ultra talented, but he's just never going to be that guy for your team, I can envision this narrow world where you would trade him. Why are you trading him for Anthony Davis and Max Christie?
Without getting Austin Reeves?
Right. It's like,
first you got to shop it around and see what you can get, which he apparently did not do that. And he just decided on the Lakers.
It was, because it was such a good deal that he couldn't tell anyone else about it. It's like getting a telemarketer call like, hey, I have a deal I'm only offering to you today.
God, I'm so lucky.
Rob Pelinka's working at a call center, calling on the phone with Nico Harrison. This is the greatest opportunity of your life, and I'm only going to offer it once, and I'm not offering it to anybody else. Red flag, red flag, red flag. And he never picked up on it.
Can you imagine the mental breakdown we would have had if that happened here? Oh my God.
Yeah, man.
We would have been insufferable.
Overtime, everybody. Thanks on the television side. We'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. If you want to finish this show and a few more news and notes, stay with us at allphly.com. The thing for me, though, is the year they got to the finals, you made some really good trades at the trade deadline to acquire P.J. Washington and Daniel Gafford. You drafted Derek Lively the next season. It all looked pretty good.
Yeah.
You work around that. Those are defensive guys. Remember how it worked with Iverson and all? You got to the finals. You just continue to work around. You don't do what they did, and that's where he is right now. So that was Just crazy, man. And when I saw those pictures yesterday of the new Mavs uniforms for the City Edition, and you can see a little bit of AD, little Luca from when he was in Dallas. Like, what's going on?
Texas barbecue, boy.
Yes, indeed. Got a little more money with no taxes, and so oh man, just crazy.
Jeannie
stuff.
Buss was with Rob Pelinka giving the Glenn Ross opening speech from Alec Baldwin about closer.
Real fast though, because you guys mentioned the ownership of how you bring that to the table, you get fired. A lot of people last night in the chat and even today saying, well, how much blame do they get for allowing him to actually go through and say, yes, make this trade?
Yeah, no. So like I said, usually I want my owners to stay out of it. Like, yeah, you've got to green light and rubber stamp it, but you don't 99 times out of 100, you don't want ownership overriding a trade. This is the one time. This is the one time because A, there's nobody in the basketball sphere who would have agreed with this. And B, as an owner, you know the financial implications of this trade. You know how much Luka means to you. You know how much Luka means to the fans and what the reaction is going to be. And should that be the overriding principle? No, but it was dumb as hell as a basketball move too. It really is the most, from every angle, it is the most indefensible trade that I've ever seen.
Yep, absolutely. All right, let's keep it going on the news and notes before we get to the world famous roll call. Let's go to the food edition, everybody. Bree,
boy.
Let's start with this one. Chick-fil-A.
Oh, I'm in. I already saw
Sponsor
this.
the show. But, Derek, since you haven't seen it, Kyle's in the chat. Bree, Chick-fil-A is testing out in San Antonio and in Baltimore the breakfast sandwich, chicken and waffles, and the regular sandwich for lunch, dinner, whatever, chicken and waffles. Are you in?
Yes, 100%.
I'm
I had
gonna
chicken
I'm
and
gonna
waffles
get
not too long
myself
ago.
fired with the San Antonio part. Thinking about Charles Barkley. I'm not saying anymore. Introducing it in San Antonio, of all places. The first thing I thought was Charles Barkley with the churros.
So
I did too, but I didn't want to say anything. I just wanted to read it and go with it.
we're all a little more cautious than Kyle, but we're all on the same wavelength. Trust me.
God.
I will say I'm usually a very light breakfast eater, so I'd want to have it at like lunch.
Yeah.
But I like legitimately just had chicken and waffles like a week and a half ago.
Bree.
100%.
Hashtag Chuck vindicated.
Bree, what you got?
Yeah, I'm so in.
You in?
1,000%. Oh, yeah.
Yeah? All right. On both the breakfast and the... Okay. All right. So my thing is this because isn't it like the McGriddles that has syrup in the bread for their
I
breakfast
believe
sandwich?
so. I haven't had one in a long time.
Are they going to
but-
have this? What I don't know when I was doing this research, I don't know if there was going to be syrup in the waffles. And then you do whatever else you do, add whatever other things that you may want on the sandwich. I don't know that if it's going to be on this. Does that change anything?
No.
Do you need the waffles?
No.
I mean the syrup?
No, but like, I want syrup. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I would assume that because they have the what is it, the like chicken minis in the
Yeah.
morning, and those have a little bit of
Oh, they
syrup
do?
on
Okay.
them.
I've
so
never had those.
I'm just in on Chick-fil-A as a general, or not Chick-fil-A, on chicken and waffles as
Yes.
a concept. Chick-fil-A,
So I am too,
but
but I am picky about my chicken and waffles because
Okay.
yes, I'm picky about my chicken and waffles. I would try it though. I'm in on the Chick-fil-A thing. So San Antonio and Baltimore, pass it through so the rest of us can get an opportunity to try this out, especially you, San Antonio. Let us know. Let us know.
between Charles Barkley and then trying to imagine Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka recreating Alec Baldwin's Glenn Ross scene. You call yourself a salesman? Fuck you.
Boy, we getting overtime. And Kyle's just
All right, Bree, this is the final one. Remember when we were talking
This
about
watch costs more than your car, Rob.
show him the
Get
watch,
in there
Omar.
and
Show him the
close.
watch.
Leads are for closers, Rob.
This has gone off the rails.
remember when we were talking
That's
what,
an all-time scene. That shit is so good.
what was the lottery at? It was $1 billion when we were talking about it and saying there would be signs of why
Yeah.
you wouldn't. So we're gonna mute this one, of course. But
Oh, boy.
this is a former NBA player, so he has the money. He has his own form of lottery. He is now since retired. But man, when I saw this, I was like, this is Derek and Kyle all over it. And I think I ought to visit. He has his own island, Reggie Bullock, where is this? Are these the signs, Derek? That you
Bullock Island.
Yeah. Are these the signs?
That seems like a lot of work, personally.
How though? All you doing is just
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Good for him.
I didn't think Reggie Bullock had
Neither
owned an
did
island
I.
money. Yeah.
Neither did I.
Was he like, who's the old Bucks guy? Is it Junior Bridgman?
Yeah, with
He's got like the Wendy's empire.
Yeah.
He's one of the most wealthy former NBA players because he just got into franchising Wendy's.
Yeah.
What a success story.
Yeah.
Maybe Reggie Bullock is like the Junior Bridgman of this
How
era
much
of
did
NBA
Reggie
players.
making his career? Hold
He's
on.
got his own island.
Not a ton. I mean,
No,
he
he's
made
had
a
a
ton
couple of
relative
compared to us.
He's
Yeah.
had a couple like 40s, couple $50 million contracts, right? A couple of them. And
He made $51.6 million over the course of his career.
total?
If you
thought he
saved
made
it,
more
if you
than that.
invested, maybe he was like an early Bitcoin guy or something.
Hey,
I don't know.
Who's a
Spencer
big
Dinwiddie?
yeah? Spencer's who I'm thinking of.
listen, man, he's got his own island. And
I
I'll,
don't.
I'll show you guys because when you look at it up close, of course,
Good for
it
him.
looks dope. And you can just see the overhead of that's his
No
island.
hate from me. I hope he's doing
No,
well.
I'm
I hope
an
he
island
enjoys
guy.
his
Like,
island.
So
that-
that's
I
the
don't-
sign?
Yeah,
You just
you wouldn't see a sign because you wouldn't see me.
Well, because this is the example. This
It's
is
a $10 million island, apparently, too,
10
according
million?
to the internet.
Okay. Yeah. That's not bad.
Oh, hold on.
All right.
He bought his island for only $2 million 3 years ago. So if it's worth $10 million now, that real estate is appreciating.
My man.
Island is located in Belize. It's 5 acres. It is shaped like a heart, and it is literally called Bullock Island.
Fantastic.
I mean,
work
if you're
by
going to
you,
buy
my
an
friend.
island, you might as well name it after yourself.
No, but those are the signs.
I don't know if I
want
would name
anybody
mine
to know.
Newbeck Island. I feel like there's another pretty well-known island at this point named after someone's last name that I think you got to just go in a different direction than last name island.
That's a good point.
I think you'd name it like something Metropolis or Archipelago.
The getaway. That's all you do. Welcome,
Anyway, before I get
welcome to Bullock
ousted
Island.
from this company, we should probably do
Great
the
work,
roll
Reggie.
call.
Great work by you, Reggie. Those are the signs. Let's
You
get to the
can buy
world.
an island for $2 million.
Hey, man. In
Gotta
Belize.
pull our money together.
In Belize.
Gotta GoFundMe. We can do a remote show from the island.
Oh, we're out. Oh, we're out. All right, let's get to the world famous the roll call
How about
from Bullock Island.
There's nothing ever going to be named Bodner Island. That's a good call.
how about
Oh, Gene says Calc Island.
we're going to Newbeck Mountain. How about that? Thank you everyone for being here.
Oh.
Before I get unceremoniously thrown out of the building, thank you to Spy Guy. Thank you to Rich P,
Gene
Same
left.
James, Jamie, SB Cole,
What up,
Jorge
SB?
back in the
My
building
man,
today.
Jorge.
Sean Ford, Habib 215 675, Craig Mello 3 Point,
What
Ishmael,
up, Mello, my man?
Mom's grandchildren. What's up to Mom?
She said I need to put the glasses on, so I did.
Tika, PHLY guy, Brian Knight, Jada Jungle. You better love somebody.
Love somebody.
Val, Jess, my girl Nona,
Hey, ladies.
Mr. Midrange, Brian Knight, Nick Aub, Theo.
What up, Theo?
Because it auto-corrected, I do have to circle back on Smy Guy and say Smoggy is back in the building. Darkness is here.
Turn the lights down.
I haven't gotten to do that in a while. Hello to Darkness. Hello to Dave P, to Futz, Chase
Nico
Mudd,
Harrison.
Sean Havern.
Turn the lights out.
Hedfa, of course. Good to see Hedfa as always. Corda Philly, Maple, Connor, Rick Morse,
Maple Sarah.
Luke, Eugene Ross. Thank you, everybody,
Thank you.
for being here as you put up with my nonsense and our nonsense. Please, on the way out, those like numbers are nowhere near high enough for the amount of people who are in here. Hit the thumbs up button. Make me feel good. Make Devon with his foam finger feel good. Say thank you to super producer Bree, making it all happen behind the scenes. Hit that thumbs up button. It takes almost no time, no effort, but it makes a big difference for us, the show, the channel, and all our wonderful coworkers. If you could, while you're at it, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you get notifications each and every time that we go live. We will be back once again tomorrow at 3 p.m. It'll be after practice. Hopefully we hear some more about Paul George, Joel Embiid. Whatever we hear, whatever we learn, it will be another 3 p.m. show. It's crazy. We get to do those again this week.
One more.
What a change of pace. One more of those. Until then, stay safe. Take care of one another. Goodbye.
See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.